All right, welcome to the full tutorial for the guitar part for 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20. So this is an awesome song. It's a little bit of a throwback at this point. Feels weird to say because I vividly remember when this came out. But nonetheless, awesome song, pretty easy. That's all your standard chords, G, C, D, and E minor. The song was recorded in A flat, which means they played everything we're gonna play today, but with a capo on the first fret. I decided to skip the capo for today because the song plays the same, and I know some of us may not have a capo yet. Highly encourage you to get one. But that way you can practice along with me in the video and it'll all sound the same, okay? So, there's a lot going on in this song. More than meets the ear, okay? We're gonna start at the intro and take it all the way through the song. So we'll break it down by section. All the verses are pretty much the same, except for the last one. We'll talk about that. And the choruses are pretty much the same. So we're just gonna kind of learn the chorus, and you can just, cut and paste that part into all of the choruses, okay? So what we start with in the song is just acoustic doing this. And then it rests for a while, and then okay, so this is trickier than you might think. When we are learning a part like this, we want to make sure that from the very moment the music starts playing, we start to internalize the beat of the song, or the tempo of the song, and internalize the rhythm, okay? So it kind of sounds like the guitar is doing those little fill parts, and what I mean by fill is that part, and then I call those fills because they sort of fill in the gaps between the main strumming part. Okay, so they kind of sound like they're in random places. And so a lot of times when we're first getting started, we're just left kind of guessing where those parts happen. They are far from random, okay? They are right in the rhythm of the song. So if we were to count, I'm gonna try to tap along here. So if we're to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so ba-da-da, it starts on beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 da-da-da. Okay? So the first fill happens on the beat 4 of that measure, and the second fill starts on beat 3 of that measure. We're not gonna break down the exact timing of the fills, but you at least know where to count those. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then we're into the next part, okay? So I actually kind of jumped ahead, didn't I? I forgot to even talk about the chords. Let's talk about the chords. I was so excited about the fills, I forgot to talk about the chords. Let's do that now, okay? We have G and C add 9. C add 9, awesome chord. Very easy transition between these two chords. My hand is hardly moving. So the G chord, second finger, 3rd fret, low E, first finger, 2nd fret A, the D and the G are open, and the 3rd finger is on the 3rd fret B string, 4th finger, 3rd fret, high E string. So we're gonna strum through that. The C add 9, we're not gonna worry too much about the name of that chord right now. You just move the 2nd and 1st fingers down a string. So 2nd finger moves to A string, 1st finger moves to D string, and the 3rd and 4th fingers stay put. So we have G, C add 9, okay? He's also doing a hammer-on. When we get into the strumming part especially, a hammer-on is when you play one note and then you kind of hammer a finger onto the string. So a hammer-on can happen between 2 frets, like that, or open string to a fretted note. Okay, so in this case, it's an open string to a fretted note. We are hammering on the D string from an open D to the 2nd fret within that chord. So this is a little bit of a complicated move if you've never done this before. If you've been playing guitar for a while and chords are second nature to you, you've probably done this move a million times, okay? So we have that hammer on there. So the first part of the intro, I'm gonna call that kind of the down intro, is 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and verse there, didn't you? I stopped you just short. So G to C at 9, and we're just gonna repeat those chords over and over. It's super fun to play. Add that hammer-on in there for a little spice. Do you have to do the hammer-on? No, sounds great without it. Sounds even better with it. It's kind of like that spice you add to the dish to make it pop a little bit more, right? Okay, so let's get to the verse. We're gonna go to the D chord for the first time, and we are holding this out. It's a whole note. We're holding this out for the full measure, okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So it's a full measure, single strum on the D chord, full measure, single strum on the C add 9, and then back. D, 2, 3, C add 9, 2, 3, strum. Does that every time, right? Listen to the song a bunch of times and it's very simple to pick out that part, okay? Very easy to hear. The end of the verse is a really cool little transition part. So the verse is very subdued compared to the rest of the song, right? We have these single strums on the guitar. He's not singing too powerfully yet. It's pretty low key relative to the rest of the song, right? So we have this cool transition part from the verse to the chorus. Some people might call this a pre-chorus. I kind of feel like it's more just a part of the verse. I don't know, that's a little subjective. But we're gonna arpeggio this part. Okay, so you can clearly hear the electric guitar playing that part. The acoustic is copying that part in that section of the song during this first verse. I think in the second verse, the acoustic's more playing the chords, but it's neither here nor there. So we're forming a D chord here. And remember that hammer-on we just talked about? We're gonna hammer on the 2nd fret high E string. So we're gonna pick down the strings, D, G, B. We're gonna pick that high E string and hammer on the 2nd fret. So that's our part. And then we're gonna switch to the C add 9, remove the pinky finger, that's our part there, no hammer on. And the arpeggio means when you break apart that chord, we're gonna go A, D, G, E, B, G. I'll say that again, A, D, G, E, B, G. Okay, so all together we've got the second time we do this arpeggio on the D chord, instead of hammering on the open E to the 2nd fret, we're gonna have already pushed down that 2nd fret, formed our D major chord, and hammer on the 4th finger to the 3rd fret high E. And then lift it back up, and then come back up the chord. So I'll play the whole end of the verse. I know this is kind of a lot. The end of the verse is probably the more complicated part of the song, okay? So bear with me, we'll get to the fun strumming here in a second. So we've got... we get to the chorus, okay? So towards the end of that kind of arpeggio part, and you might kind of notice this in the TikTok video, I kind of start building up this strumming right here, right? I kind of do this 8th note build. That's what I would do, okay? This song definitely sounds like a band playing, right? All of these musicians sound like they were in the same room. They're jamming together. They're not trying to play these intricate specific parts all the time. They're just feeling the song and playing it together. So they start building up. They kind of transition from that arpeggio, build up, and then we're into the chorus, okay? The chorus is my favorite part. It's really, really fun. So we have G, D, and C at 9, and there's an E minor thrown there at the end. So E minor, if you're unfamiliar, open E, 2nd finger, 2nd fret A, 3rd finger, 2nd fret D, and then the other strings are open. So it's kind of sad sounding, right? So we have that E minor towards the end. Now the strumming pattern here, we have some offbeat strumming, okay? I call these pushes. We're gonna push a few of these chords. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, and actually it'd be 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and, okay? Don't worry too much about the counting. I just wanted to point that out, okay? Listen, listen, listen. Pick out that guitar part, pick out that rhythm, and just sort of feel it. Ba, ba, da, da. pretty common rhythm. I wouldn't say it's easy. If offbeats are new to you, I wouldn't say it's easy. But you notice my right hand is sticking with that timing no matter what. See, my right hand is constantly moving. I'm loose, I'm relaxed, I've got that timekeeper going, right? We talk about that a lot. If you're a student of ours, we talk about how to stick with that rhythm and how to internalize that rhythm. I call this the timekeeper with my students. With some of the technique stuff, these videos are more about just learning how to play the covers. Technique, if you're in the Tulsa area and you're struggling with these techniques, we do in-person lessons too. We're working on rolling out some video courses for more of a technique side. So stick with it, do your best. Don't be afraid to reach out if you're having trouble with these techniques. So, all right, so you notice my right hand doesn't have to change the timing. So the way I'm subdividing that right hand is 16th notes. All right, so cool. I just wanted to play that a bunch of times and kind of stick it into your memory. Listen to the song, listen to me play it. You'll kind of get that rhythm, okay? So we're gonna do that pattern 3 times. The final time we switch to an E minor. So here's the full chorus. 1, 2, ready, go. C at 9, and then we're back to the... Okay, so then we're back into that intro part, which is the turnaround at this point. The part that often follows a chorus that leads you from the chorus into the verse, we often call that a turnaround. We're kind of turning everything around and going back to that verse part, okay? So I know I kind of flew through that. If you're left with questions, please reach out. We'll try to help you through it. I'm assuming that you have some experience with this song, okay? If you don't, some of this stuff is a little bit beyond you. We'll talk about it. We'll get there. Okay, so we've got, then the verse part again. The verse part is the exact same as the first verse. Then we get to that second chorus, same as the first chorus. We're not gonna repeat the chorus part, okay? Following that second chorus, we have this really cool thing. So songwriters, pay attention. We end that chorus with the E minor, D, C. We hang on that C for a long time, okay? So what the C chord does is it sort of suspends the song in midair. It's really, really cool technique to kind of throw in there as a songwriter is you sort of have this chorus, you make your statement. This song is very heavy on the root note. That G chord is so prominent. By kind of suspending the song on the C chord or the 4 chord, we kind of get this sort of, we're kind of off the ground, and we're just sort of letting that idea sort of kind of ride a little high for a second. Think about that idea for a second, and then we resolve down on the G chord again, okay? Pretty cool. And so what the guitar player does at that point is it's an arpeggio. So kind of get down, down, up, down, down, up. Pretty cool part. I really like songwriters that do this. Rob Thomas, awesome songwriter. I chose this song because it's fun to play. It's a killer song, okay? He's an awesome songwriter. So that's kind of how we transition from the chorus to the next down verse, is we have this 4 measures of C, 3, 4, and then what do we got? A pretty quiet little acoustic part. Same as the intro, turn around, and then we have a down verse, okay? We always want to get those dynamics. So again, songwriters, pay attention. We have this kind of suspension on that 4 chord, on that C chord. We have this little instrumental section with the acoustic just strumming, and then the bottom kind of drops out and we have a quiet section, okay? Contrast, it's all about contrast. This is a really fun, upbeat song. It hasn't really dropped out until this point, and then boom, we drop out. Why? Because we can only get so loud, right? We want that last chorus to pop, and it does. It's an incredibly emotional final chorus. We can't really have that if we're just up here constantly, okay? We want to have a moment where we quiet down and we drop out and we, you know, strip down who's playing, and we strip down the guitar part, and it's soft, and then we ramp up, we crescendo into that final chorus. So let's talk about that crescendo. The down verse is the same as all the other down verses. The progression doesn't change until the very end, okay? So we have this, when we go to the D chord, and then we go to the C chord, and we actually hold it for an extra measure, okay? You can even feel, as I'm playing it right there, you start to feel that emotion. They throw an extra measure of C in there to ramp up into that final chorus. And it's all an eighth note build. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3. It's really heaven, I must be lonely. Okay, so I can't help it. I can't help but sing because we have this really cool crescendo. We add that extra measure, the build, and the release into that final chorus. Chorus is the same. The chorus it's all the same parts, it's the same chords, it's the same everything. But by having that contrast and dropping down for that final verse and then just quickly ramping into that final chorus, you feel it. You feel something, okay? So we do the chorus twice. Same thing, same chorus as before. Vocally, he does some different things to give it a little bit of a different feel, but the band is doing the same stuff. Love the ending of this song, okay? The ending is gonna be E minor, D, C add 9, and we end on that C add 9. This is called the 4 chord, okay? You heard me kind of mention that before, G, A, B, C. We're in the key of G. The C is the 4 chord. So suspending the end of your song on a 4 chord is incredibly effective, okay? It just, again, it kind of like leaves that song suspended. And what does it make you want to do? Listen again, okay? Kind of a cool trick. So, love this song, that ending especially. All right, so we had a lot to talk about with this one, okay? We did Starting Over by Chris Stapleton last week. Less to talk about with that one, a lot of parts to this one, okay? I try to keep these videos under 20 minutes. It's surprisingly difficult. You know, in my personal lessons, we would probably spend 2 or 3 full 30-minute lessons on a song like this. There's lots to learn, okay? For YouTube's sake, for your sake, you know, we're trying to keep this a little more condensed. So I really just want you to know how to play it. So you can play along to the track, you can play along to the song, play it with your friends, and duet with me back on the TikTok page, okay? So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on TikTok, roserockmusic.com for information on lessons. We have some merch available now. It's pretty exciting times, okay? Real pumped about it. So let me know how it goes. Let me know if you have any questions, and I can't wait to see you next week. Have a great one.